Hello, this is Ali Eid from Count 3, and I'm here to discuss poverty in Lebanon. So, imagine waking up every morning, working from 8 to 10 hours daily, and still not being able to feed your family or pay your electricity fees. Imagine graduating from university full of hope to find out that your salary can't even buy basic groceries. This isn't a distant story. This is a reality that thousands of Lebanese people are facing due to the unfair wage system. And according to the World Bank, 80% of the Lebanese workers are living under the line of poverty. Since the 2019 financial collapse, the Lebanese lira have lost 90% of its own value. The price of food, clothing, and healthcare have skyrocketed. Bread, which used to cost 2,000 Lebanese lira, now costs 20 times more. Yet, the minimum wage is still the same. People are getting around 9 million Lebanese lira, which is equivalent to $100. Teachers, nurses, and even government employees can't live with such a wage. They are forced to depend on their relatives that live abroad, or they are forced to work another jobs just to be able to feed their family. This crisis isn't just economic, it's moral. It's about fairness, about whether the people who built this country can live with dignity. Lebanon's poverty crisis is rooted in three main causes. First, hyperinflation and economic collapse have destroyed the purchasing power. Salaries that used to feed a family for a month can't even last a week. Second, outdated labor laws haven't been updated since a decade. The minimum wage set in 2012 never changed to reflect inflation. People are still earning in lira, however, prices are following the dollar. And third, corruption and mismanagement. Billions in international aid have vanished into political networks. Funds that were supposed to reach the poor never reached them. Even Lebanon's national social security funds is on the verge of collapse because of decades of neglect and misuse. And what about the effects? Actually, the effects are devastating. Families can no longer afford food or medicine. Children are dropping out of school to help their families and parents live. Hospitals are losing nurses, schools are losing their teachers, and universities are losing their professors. Professionals are leaving the country in record numbers, what we call the brain drain. Since 2020, 200,000 of skilled workers have immigrated. The people who should be rebuilding Lebanon are instead building other countries. And beyond the economy, there's a psychological cost. Poverty brings hopelessness. People lose their faith in their government and change even in themselves. Anxiety, depression, and despair are spreading faster than ever before. However, there's always a way forward. The first and most urgent solution is to implement a fair minimum wage, a system that automatically adjusts the salaries based on the inflation rate. This isn't an impossible dream because actually Germany, France, and Canada have been already using this system to protect workers from economic shocks. Second, Lebanon needs independent monitoring bodies, such as a group of economists, unions, and even some civil organizations that can ensure transparency in how wages are set and distributed. People must see that reforms are real, not just political slogans. And third, we need public pressure. Nothing will happen if we are silent. It happens when people, especially the young generation, speak up. That's it. In 2022, a movement called Kifah al-Ujur, or wage struggle, organized protests demanding to set wages based on the dollar rate. The movement gained attention, but however, it was shut down by political threats, and the lack of support. This shouldn't be the end of the story. However, it should be the beginning of a stronger one. Lebanon poverty crisis is not inevitable. It's actually the result of bad choices. Then we can change it by choosing better choices. We as students, workers, and citizens should raise our voices to demand a fair minimum wage reform, one that ties wages to inflation and restores dignity to every citizen or every worker. I'm calling out the Lebanese Ministry of Labor, civil organization, and youth movements to take actions to revive what groups like Kifah al-Ujur started peacefully, persistently, and publicly. Because no nation can rise while its people starve, and no economy can recover if those who drive it can't even survive. Lebanon deserves better, not just charity, but justice. A fair wage is not a privilege, it's a right. And it's time we all stand up and raise our voices to get our rights.